Hello, and thanks for being with us here on the New Life Show, a series of talks with Dr. Michael Leitman. Hello, Dr. Leitman. Hello, everyone. Hello, Tal Mandelbaum Ben Moshe. Hello. Today we'd like to look ahead a bit. There's a new initiative in Finland and in other countries in Europe to give out a basic income to everyone. Let's take a look at it. Where can this take our lives? Tal, please. Yeah, especially today when we know that the cost of living is very high and the income we get isn't really satisfactory. There's a lot of frustration, and there's a new initiative that it's interesting to take a look at, understand how will it influence us and humanity in general. So a few details. In Finland, we're talking about an initiative that will start this year with 100,000 Finns that will start getting a basic income of 800 euros, regardless of any other income they have, regardless of anything. Everyone will get this income, and the idea is to later on extend it to the whole country. And also there's a referendum about it in Switzerland that if they agree on it, each citizen will get 2,500 Swiss francs, which is like 10,000 Israeli shekels. It's a lot of money. And there's a lot of talk about it. Is it good? Is it bad? And the goal of these countries is these are welfare countries that spend lots of money on social security and social rights and so on. And the idea is to cut these costs. Also, the taxes there are very high. Right. Up to 50%. Right. And we also see this phenomenon here. The idea is actually to save money on the entire bureaucracy around it and give everyone a basic income that will allow a person his basic needs. And beyond the costs and the easing on bureaucracy, there's also a desire here to make a better world where there is less poverty, where people are better off, that they don't have to struggle so much in order to survive. Maybe they can also choose their jobs so that they won't feel that they have to take any job they're offered, and also they'll have more strength against their employers. And it sounds almost like an ideal idea, and we'd like to find out, did we find a solution for the economical and social crisis that humanity is facing in the form of what we call a basic income for everyone? How do you see this? First of all, I see that whether we like it or not, we're approaching a new state where money stops working in our world. And there are many people unemployed, and unemployment will grow, and people won't find working places. And also the matter of profession. And it is all as if disappearing. Today people are starting to study something. When they finish studying, it's very likely that that profession no longer exists. According to technologies and machines and robots, we are coming to a world where we don't need people to work. And those that are working today, 90% of them are manufacturing things that there is no real need for. But in order to make a living, allow someone to make a living, it's called go and live off each other. But what for? We can really send 90% of the workers home, and we won't feel that we really need their work, their exertion, that they're really manufacturing necessary things. Therefore, if we're talking about the need for a person to get some kind of a minimum income, just because he's a citizen, really, he's a citizen, that's it. Because I'm a citizen, I deserve to receive some minimum income, minimum sum, so I can live. And so does each and every one. So we're already approaching a state where can we not revoke altogether the matter of minimum income or minimum wage and all these things, and maybe just make it equal for everyone, that will pay everyone the same sum of money, regardless whether a person's working or not. But whoever we need, he'll work, and if we don't need that person to work, he won't. But more or less everyone receives the same. And people will work only if there is need for it. Only what will we do about the 90% of the population that will be unemployed? Meaning that they have no occupation. First of all, for ecology, of course, it's going to be much better. And in general, for the whole mess what we have with the surplus and sales and the advertisement, the spending of money, of course, it's going to be much better. But what will people do? So we'll make out of all these people educators, teachers. So they'll teach each other, they'll participate on different courses, in different systems, educational systems, cultural systems, and they'll take care of society, where each one of them will be a professional. Suppose, like, you're a psychologist, then each one will be somewhat of a psychologist, somewhat of a public servant, and this way we'll see our society more balanced, formed, better, more convenient, less tensions, no competition. We'll take care of the kids the way we should, not like today, that they're on the streets where we have no idea how they're growing. Let's start arranging our environment. We won't allow people that want to make lots of money determine our lives and to constantly make us chase jobs where we're working 10 hours a day, and what's the use? That we're producing working places. Look, every big city, what is it dealing with? Only in serving each other. I belong to the Y generation, which is a generation asking questions like, what do I need it for? Run around so many hours, working meaningless jobs, taking up my life. These are burning questions. So what are you actually saying? That we're taking a direction where we'll really be able to free ourselves from working around the clock and doing what? I had many meetings with people that are engaged in modern economics, modern employment, and I asked them, last time it was in San Francisco, and I asked them, what do all the people living in the city do? What is their occupation? How is it divided? So they said, services. In short, all in all, mutual services, where I open a restaurant and he opens a coffee shop, and someone else works at a hotel and is a tourist guide, and so on and so forth. That's what it's all about. Who's really manufacturing something that a person needs? There are barely any such. Clothes, then, okay, we have China that's manufacturing clothes. Cars, so wherever there's a factory. Meaning today, 90% of what people are engaged in, and it's going to become even more, are professions that are all about mutual services. And we see that there's less and less need for these things because we go on the net. Many of the things we need, we have on the big screen. And today people can sit at home without going out, and sitting at home they see the whole world. I want to ask, our society has prepared us for life that, in a way that work or a career is considered our self-realization. That's the gist. This is how it was. Yeah. And so you meet someone, immediately he's asking you, what do you do for a living? And now we're facing a world where these things are less and less needy. There's a basic income. Robots do everything. These things are disappearing. Where will a person find his identity, self-realization? We're like empty-handed. We will be engaged in arranging human society so we won't have to run after money, wealth, but we will be in pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of happiness and not the pursuit of wealth. But if something makes me happy today, suppose that I'm doing something. No, of course. Suppose by character, I like research and science. When I was young, I was so yearning for all these things. So of course, for people who want it, they'll have the opportunity to do it, but a person won't have to work in order to make a living, in order to pay for his apartment, money, clothes, and so on. But these things will be of the obvious, because today we're in such a state where that's it. Machines can make all these things for us easily. And if we limit ourselves to rational boundaries, that we don't simply want to manufacture things that there's no need for, but just to, sell them to something to make a few more bucks, then of course we'll be able to make our life much better, more convenient, happy. What changes does a person undergo? If today we're working for money and to survive and out of pressure, what will motivate a person to work then? If he'll want to at all, if he won't need to. It's all as a result of education. We will have to put everyone into schools, universities. Everyone has to complete his education. Education, not the acquisition of knowledge. If you want to acquire knowledge, go ahead. But education is a must for everyone. And therefore, accordingly, we will see different people, a different society will be more engaged in the connections between us. How, through the right connections between us, can we correctly build a human being, a family, society, a country, humanity, and how, as a result of our connection, will we be able to achieve happiness, joy, tranquility, fulfillment. And we'll discover that because, of course, I don't see that by money, honor, control, we're finding some kind of a good and nice fulfillment that makes people happy. On the contrary, it brings us to despair, frustration, drugs, the breaking of the family and society. Meaning, this is the problem of humanity, of people. And a person today, with the kinds of jobs that we've made for ourselves, where a person has to work 10 hours a day, I see at 6 a.m. my neighbors, young people, both the husband and also the wife with the kids, they, on the way to work, they put them in different kindergartens, schools, so on. Poor kids. Afterwards, they come back home. The parents aren't at home yet. In short, we've made a life for ourselves who enjoys them. And the kids, they don't see the parents at all, and this is also how we build their environment, that they're all the time on their mobiles. And you mean that it's not the way things have to be, that we can do things differently? We'll have to make things differently, because otherwise our society, on the one hand, is deteriorating more and more into something very mechanic. And on the other hand, we see that we're incapable we're incapable of further developing because our will to receive, our ego, does not push us to consume anymore. We see that people today, they're ready to be satisfied by the least. They're drawn to tranquility, calm, indifference, kind of. If I don't have, then I don't. Something's going on with a person's ego here, where he's stopping to demand more money, honor, control. He starts saying that it's final and terminal. I want to return to the initiative in Finland and also in Switzerland about giving out basic income to everyone without any prior conditions. A moment ago, you said that we've built for ourselves, if we take a look at our life from the side, we've built a world that isn't the funnest thing, to say the least. We could have had a much better world than we do right now. And this initiative, it's a kind of a breakthrough. There's something revolutionary about it because it breaches the conventions we grew on in the past decades or centuries, and it says we want something completely new. We want to give every person, as you said, he's a citizen, he deserves it, without conditioning it on anything. This is your money, take it. You want to learn? Go ahead. You want to work? Please. You want to do that? Go ahead. You want to sit on the beach, drink beer? Fine. No, 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 no. Not so. So this is exactly what I want to specify. Meaning, what is revolutionary about this idea is that it opens up a new way of thinking. It says that anyone who's a person, who is a citizen, he gets a certain sum that allows him to make ends meet. Yeah, this is what they think. Now, I want to know, what do you think about it? Is it a wise thing to do in order to reach a better world? No, it's destructive. Why? Because if we allow a person to do whatever he wants to, very quickly he'll deteriorate to the levels of a beast. What do you mean? It's like the clip you showed me before the show. Our viewers didn't see the clip, but what are you talking about? Drugs, what? Drugs, indifference. There are drugs and indifference now as well. But a person won't know what to do with himself. He needs to fill himself up with something. He can't sit all day long on the beach. He has to get some kind of guidance. He's all in all a person, a human being, a social being. We're living in a society, and if you won't know how to connect with others, if I know in advance that I have a pension till the end of my life, from young age, a pension, until I leave for the higher world, I won't be doing anything. I don't need a kindergarten, nor a school, nor nothing. I don't need anything. That's the big fear in Europe now, that people won't work because they'll get a basic income. And many people say that they should work. Work why? Because they'll have to fill their day somehow. I don't need to fill this day. I have friends. I have a place to be. I want to be here today, there tomorrow. Yeah, but you, by character, you're a person who likes studying. Okay, so you in this state, let's leap into this state. Suppose the country gives everyone $2,000-$3,000, everyone, regardless of who and what you are. Someone with your character will take himself, sit in some library, maybe with a computer, research, develop something. She's smart, good at heart, she'll probably contribute to society. I immediately sit on the beach, drinking beer, having fun. There's something beautiful about this idea, because we're not starting to coerce a person to do something. Today in welfare countries, they check, are you entitled to an allowance or not? Did you work? Didn't you? You start lying. 1,000 different things. Let's do something simple. Take this money, do whatever you want. People say it will allow you to actually develop, because you'll have the basic minimum, and if you're creative, maybe you'll want to create something, open a small business. I don't know what you're going to do. Whatever you want. What do you think? It's very simple. My opinion is, a person is the will to receive, the will to enjoy, the will to receive pleasure. This is our nature. There are pleasures which we receive and enjoy, which are food, sex, family, money, honor, knowledge. These are the basic pleasures. If we take people and divide them according to the grading of the pleasures, food, sex, family, money, honor, knowledge, and we'll check what people belong to, what pleasures, and what percentage of society is on what level. Food, obviously, everyone enjoys it. Sex, also. Today maybe it's less than it was before or more, that depends, but still, people are concerned with it. Family, you see, the desire is gone, people today don't want to get married. Money. Money, you're saying that that's it? I get a basic income. That's it. Depends. Someone will use it as a change for whatever and keep making his millions, and for someone else it's going to be his entire income, depending who you are. Yeah, depends. And all then honor, control, knowledge. We know that this is the pyramid. It's like Maslow's pyramid, the pyramid of needs. And what happens there? Tell us, please. A person, first of all, needs his basic needs. Once he has that, okay, so he has his basic needs. Then he can be engaged in higher desires of belonging, of self-realization. And does it really happen that way, or did he dream about that? He dreamt about it. He's a philosopher, a psychologist. In your opinion, will this idea promote people? In my opinion, this person made a mistake and took all of humanity with him. You said that this idea is destructive. Of course it's going to be destructive. So why shouldn't the country do that? In 5 or 10 years, even in 5 years, they will get people that won't want anything. It's going to be something, I don't know, people that are unworthy of everything, incapable of everything, that their language, their vocabulary will be extremely limited. Their whole point of view on life will be very limited. They'll be like cats today. This is how people are going to be. It's a bit sad once you take away the carrot and the stick, some external motivation that forces a person to work. He becomes something very small, miserable. What made humans out of monkeys, if not necessity, coercion by nature? Yeah? So we'll get in return something worse than a monkey, because a monkey behaves according to nature. But we said at the beginning of our talk that we don't have to live like we're living now with the suffering and the pressure. We are in a situation where a person will not want to develop. He doesn't want to develop today either, unless life forces him to. Look at the younger generation. What do they want? Give them their mobile and a pizza into his room where he's locked. He won't want to come out. So a basic income for everyone is insufficient. You're not against it, but you're saying that it's insufficient. A person will have no incentive to develop. Furthermore, you're saying that it's going to be destructive, that in 5 years, unless, along with the receiving of this basic income, we force them to become a part of some educational framework. And if a person's not there, he doesn't receive the income. One depends on the other. What will I get there? You take courses, you're constantly on these courses all day long, like now, like you're at work, 10 hours, then you're on these courses for 10 hours a day. And there you study history and geography and everything there is about the world and everything there is about human society and psychology and kids' education, even if he's not married, and how to live with your spouse, even if you're not married, and how to build the right kind of life, even if he knows or doesn't know. We teach him how to become a person, a human being, with himself, with his environment, with the entire world. And we take him to museums, the planetarium, different places. We let him listen to music. We are making each and every one a human being. And what about people that don't like studying? Doesn't matter, then you get no income. That's your income. No, I mean, there are people, it's not that they like it or not. There are people that are like you, researchers by nature, but there are those that don't have the brains for it. No, I'm talking about very simple things. And then, where do I find my profession, my way? I teach them how to dance in a group, sports. They're constantly occupied with something, and it's a population of millions that starts doing it. And this is called work. Why work? Because we are making human beings. So the work in this future world, with a few machines, with a few 3D printers and so on, we can make everything. And what's my produce as a person? That you get people that know how to connect with one another, that know what they live for, that know how to behave in an environment, at home, and so on and so forth. Today, we're not educating anyone. There is no person that finishes school, or in general, that knows how to educate children, the psychology of a man, the psychology of a woman, the psychology of a family. You, as a psychologist, you know that it's not taught anywhere. A person, he doesn't know anything about the world, about life. He's simply being thrown into life, that's it. You know how to read, how to write, that's it. That's what he's left with after school. And here, we're engaged both in sports, culture, everything. Each one of them comes out ripe. Our show is unfortunately up. Thank you very much, Dr. Lightman. Thank you, Tal. Thanks for being with us. All the best.